TV47. Happy holidays.
Good evening. Glad that you are watching us on the county's television on the news tonight. It is Governor Sonko's day with fate as senators vote on his impeachment motion. Sonko had his day to defend himself. Also tonight, health workers and the government are yet to agree on the ongoing strike. The talks are yet to bear any fruits. Plus, Julius Mwambua, who was jailed for life after being framed by her daughter for rape, is finally free.
Mimi hawa watu wote nimeshawasamehe kutoka mbindi yangu toka simwende.
Tonight of all nights, Anwairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, begins right now. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast. To our top story, and Senate is currently on a break ahead of a vote on the impeachment motion against Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. Sonko has had a long day defending himself following his impeachment by the county assembly. Among the issues that Sonko was hard pressed to explain is how millions of shillings from the county coffers were spent to pay lawyers. Our reporter Mwangi Maina has been following the proceedings and now joins us live. Mwangi, it must have been a long day for Governor Mike Sonko.
Thank you so much, Abubakar Abdullah. Indeed, it has been a very long day and a very exciting day at the Senate today. Maybe to bring you to speed and our viewer on what was happening at the Senate, Governor Sonko was given an opportunity to present his evidence to the Senate. Remember that Governor Sonko had 5 witnesses and they were being led by Senior Counsel Harrison Kenyanjui, who was leading Sonko's defense team. Maybe Abubakar Abdullahi, just to let you know, something interesting happened. One of the witnesses, who is Emmanuel Kenga, he said he's a retired commissioner of police, told the Senate that out of the 88 signatures that were purportedly, or the signatures that were submitted to Nairobi County Speaker after members of County Assembly voted, 6 of them were forged, or rather they were made by the same author. It was a very interesting day at the Senate when all these witnesses were submitting Sonko's defense at the Senate. Remember, Abubakar Abdullahi, Sonko said that the mover of the motion to impeach him, he was dramatizing the whole process. He was doing character assassination as well as playing politics. Right now, Abubakar Abdullahi, what we understand is that the Senate has just taken a break, and when they come back, they will be voting on whether to impeach Governor Mike Sonko or not. Abubakar Abdullahi and our viewer, the Senate requires 24 votes to determine, or 24 senators either to vote in favor of the motion so that Governor Mike Sonko can be taken home. Abubakar Abdullahi, something that Governor Sonko took issue with on the impeachment motion. One of the issues that the mover of the motion that the Nairobi County Assembly had raised is the matter to do with disbursement of funds, the bursary funds to the County Assembly of Nairobi. But Governor Sonko says that MCAs have had a syndicate since the previous administration on where they have been siphoning funds meant for bursaries for Nairobi residents, and they have been channeling them to their own account. Governor Sonko mentioned a few MCAs, their wives, their families, and said that they have been siphoning funds meant for bursaries for poor students for their own purposes. So Abubakar Abdullahi, we are keeping an eye on what is happening, and definitely you will bring to speed our viewer on what will transpire at the Senate in the next few minutes. Probably right now, Abubakar Abdullahi, we're listening to some of the proceedings and what took place in the Senate earlier in the day.
Here for 2 days, we've had And I want us to be very frank with each other, that in as much as this is a quasi-judicial process, Madam Speaker, this is a political process. We might want to sit here, talk a lot of English, but a decision has been made. If we can save time, Madam Speaker, and wind up, because a decision will be made through a vote.
How would the records of this House read if it's one-sided, where the authorities have been quoted and the other side has not had ample time to peruse through those authorities and give a counter proposal? Because in the interest of equity and fairness, I think it will appear, Madam Speaker, that it's only fair that when these authorities are being quoted, that the other side will have adequate time to reply, so the records in the Hansard will reflect accordingly what has transpired in this session.
I urge this Honorable House to find that this process was premature and that the Assembly, or the mover of the motion, had not exhausted all the available machinery to them before invoking their powers under Article 181.
There is no action that has been taken by the bodies that are mandated to take actions insofar as the question of investigations is an issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have to question the motive of that letter. It's not a letter that was brought in good faith. It is not a letter that has actually been brought by a man with clean hands. The man does not require any favor before the eyes of equity. The hands are dirty. They are so dirty in the sense that equity cannot aid.
Article 24 of the Constitution says that any action or omission done in contravention of this Constitution is invalid. Madam Speaker, the moment they fail to meet the legal threshold in an open, transparent, and accountable manner, which could be very viable, because up to now we have asked them, where are the videos of voting? They can't furnish. Where is the list, the proper list, and the averments which will accompany the notes of motion? They have nothing. Madam Speaker, I submit that adding nothing into nothing equals to nothing. So you cannot bring a lot of nothing, and cumulatively you say you have added a lot of things, which amounts to nothing.
Wow, thank you so much, Abubakar Abdullahi. That is just part of what transpired today at the Senate. All our eyes are at the Senate, and we'll be bringing our viewer to speed as senators cast their votes whether to impeach or retain Governor Mike Sonko in office. Back to you in Studio A, Abubakar Abdullahi.
Thank you, Mwangi Maina. Mwangi Maina is our reporter who is on the beat of Sonko's impeachment motion. Senate is set to make a determination tonight on that case, which pits the governor against the county assembly. The county assembly, remember, last week voted to impeach the governor of the county. The Senate had decided that it will go a whole house in hearing the motion. That ends in few hours. And of course, it ends with the senators votes that will determine the way forward in as far as Nairobi's leadership is concerned. We will be briefing you up to speed with the latest from the Senate. Elsewhere, the country is not ready for schools reopening on 4th January. This is according to Elimu Yetu Coalition, which accuses the government for lagging behind in ensuring public schools have what it takes to ensure learners are safe, raising questions of where the 1.2 billion shillings the government received from the Global Partnership for Education, specifically to ensure learners are safe in schools, are. Sharon Baranga reports.
With only 2 weeks remaining to schools reopening, some learning institutions are in the process of completing their preparation to receive pupils and students while adhering to the guidelines from the Ministry of Health. For instance, ensuring they have enough soap, water, and space in classes and dormitories. But some education stakeholders are concerned that the country is not ready for reopening of schools. They are pointing an accusing finger at the government for not being at the forefront in distribution of the much-needed soap, water, and face masks in schools.
As to whether the government has put in sufficient measures to ensure that we are ready come January 4th, that I don't think we are. but we need to have the schools opened.
The school calendar will officially start for second term on 4th January.
When the president made that particular directive, he said that even as you come up with a calendar to open schools, there are some things that must be in place. And those things that must be in place are the basic things you're talking about: masks, water, soap in schools. These things are not in school at the moment, at least as facilitated by the government.
Education stakeholders are concerned that the spread of COVID-19 might increase in learning institutions once schools reopen.
Right now, we have the schools partially opened. But when you're going to talk about January 4th, we will have a full reopening of schools, which means the current pressure that we have will double, triple, and even quadruple.
The government received 1.2 billion shillings from Global Partnership for Education for the year 2020-2021 to ensure all learners are safe in schools. Education stakeholders are wondering why the money is not being put to use. Meanwhile, Bomet County Governor is also concerned with the reopening of learning institutions.
We are likely to open our schools on 4th with a lot of confusions. Kwanza, we have not expanded the infrastructure. Pia tulikuwa tumeambiwa pesa imepeanwa watengeneze desks na viti ndio isaidie mashule zetu. To date, those who are contracted have not been paid. And even some of them hawajatengeneza hizo desks na chairs.
The governor also believes the government was not ready to implement the competency-based curriculum. Sharon Baranga, TV47.
Elsewhere, nurses and clinical officers unions have today announced that the ongoing strike will go on after a day-long consultative meeting between them and the government. And as our health reporter Zainab Mohammed now reports, the strike has disrupted services in public hospitals.
After a day-long consultative meeting between the government and health workers, all seems not to be well at the negotiation table after the health workers union officials announced that their nationwide strike is still on. According to them, the government has in numerous ways failed to address their issues, with the health workers agreeing to suspend their strike time and again, but not this time.
Today we have held the longest day. We expected that at least there could be a commitment in all the issues as it was presented to them. Our demand have not been met. So to say is that the strike continue, because we are not going back until our safety is ensured.
We have restated our position for a record time more than 10 times. The issues remain the same. And we want to make it clear that we still don't have a tangible way forward. So as we live here, the ball is squarely on the court of the employer. For them to resolve these issues, it will take efforts from them.
We are not going to suspend this strike until all these issues are addressed in totality, because we keep postponing a strike, we keep postponing a problem. Therefore, we have unanimously said, as unionists, as health workers in this country, this is the time to sort out these issues once and for all, so that we can serve Kenyans with the diligence, with the respect they deserve.
The clinical officers and nurses strike has entered day 11 on Thursday. Elsewhere, leaders from Bungoma County have urged the government to reduce the salaries of civil servants as a way of creating revenue to resolve the health workers' strike. Speaking in Bungoma County, Deputy Governor Kibanani Ngome says the health crisis needs to be resolved as quickly as possible.
Tukitaka kurekebisha, tumwambie Rais Uhuru afanye kitu kimoja. Sisi wote people working at a high level kama sisi MPs, MCS, governor na naibu yake na cabinet yote at the county level, at the national level, including Rais Uhuru na naibu wake, we must take pay cuts.
And in Trans Nzoia County, nurses and clinical officers have urged the county residents with patients in public hospitals to seek other alternative means, as the nationwide strike might not come to an end anytime soon.
All services shall be paralyzed. Relatives kindly look for other facilities which shall be operational outside Trans Nzoia. The managers in healthcare facilities kindly transfer all the patients who require hospitalization so that they are not disadvantaged.
One nurse from the county has been reported to have succumbed to COVID-19. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Moving on, Julius Wambua, a man who has been serving a life imprisonment sentence after he was convicted of incest 8 years ago, has been set free after new evidence emerged freeing him. Julius Wambua was allowed to walk to freedom after the court quashed the jail sentence meted on him on 24th January 2012 by a principal magistrate court in Kidimani. He is now set for a fresh trial next week, Monday.
As he walked into his freedom, this was a farewell gesture that Julius Wambua made outside the Kamiti Maximum Prison, where he has been serving his life sentence, which was handed to him on 24th January 2012 after being convicted of defiling his 15-year-old daughter. Tears of joy flowed freely as he hugged and reunited with his family members, including his daughter Dorcas Mwende, whom he had been falsely accused of raping.
Ni siku yangu ya kusaliwa. Ama niseme siku yangu ya leo ni siku ya kufufuka.
Sasa nimempata baba. Nimepata amani kwa moyo wangu.
His freedom comes after Justice George Odunga from Machakos delivered a judgment to free Wambua on a 30,000 shilling cash bail and further ordered for a fresh trial or any appeal by the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, who told the court that he was framed by his ex-wife.
Because now he's already out on cash bail, the next step is to face the retrial. But that is at the discretion of the Director of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Wambua will now be facing a retrial that will be mentioned on the 21st December this year at the Kithimani Magistrates Court. Nanok Lauren, TV47.
Quite a reminder that however long it takes, the law and justice are the equal reminders. Time for us to take a short break. You're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. We'll be back with more news after this break. Stay tuned.
Ebindaya tanu, ebindaya moyo, ebindaya time, ebindaya nguma, kwataka wayaka kwateka view. Hey, what's up? My name is Movie, and thank you. For the last 3 months, we've been watching Coffee with Movie. Nasema ni asante, nashukuru. Thank you for the suggestions, for the opinions, for the suggestions of who you want us to have, and the better ideas of how we can modify this show to suit you as best as possible. Nataka ni wawish Merry Christmas, Happy Brand New Year 2021. Au sio? It will be bigger, greater, fuller, excellenter. Au sio? I wish you a Merry Christmas, I wish you a Merry Christmas, I wish you a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New 2021, yo.
We let you take us through your journey.
The report of the scan came out. The doctor told us that the scan is showing my baby had already passed on.
I don't like people standing too close to me. I don't like people standing behind me.
And give hope after beating all odds.
We don't choose how we are born. We don't choose how we are raised. The choices we have in this life are virtually limited.
Only on Confessions with Maria every Saturday at 8 p.m.
Sunday yes, Sunday mwami. Mtumishi hapa papa unichasero bayai niweze kumushinda shetani. Sunday yes. Tuko ndani ya TV47, don't move, usisonge, pakia hapo na tuna hang out na Coffee with Mbufi na tunaelekea wakati wa Christmas. Please share. Ukiona kakitu tu, pitia mahali wachia mtu na utachaswa na roho ya TV47. Papa unichase roho, niweze kumushinda shetani. Sunday wacha nimalizie chai. Ebindaye seyo, ebindaye tanu, ebindaye